How rare is too rare in a video game? Guys, we've been playing Destiny for almost 10 years. We've seen our fair share of rare stuff. RNG is a fickle thing. From God Row Maga loops in D1 to raid exotics that players struggle to get even to this day. All games with loot as a focal point have loot rarities and typically have items that are harder to obtain than others. But how hard is too hard? How rare is too rare when we're talking about a loot-based game? Now we bring this up because now that we've been slightly focused on Diablo 4, since its release, we've been keeping up with announcements from the devs, the rumors, and what the community is talking about. And what the community is talking about, or currently arguing about right now, is in relation to this tweet by Adam Jackson, a lead class designer on Diablo 4. The tweet reads, "Hello, I wanted to clear up some details on the rarest unique items in Diablo 4. Number 1, they can drop from level 85 plus enemies. Number 2, you get them anywhere you can get a regular unique, and they always drop at 820 power. Number 3, we currently have 6 of them in the game, and number 4, they're really rare." Now this tweet was likely made because a large majority of the hardcore Diablo player base was wondering whether or not these 6 items even existed because there's only been 2 confirmed drops in the entire world. You heard that right, guys. 2. Just think about that. 2 of these items have only dropped. Can you imagine Gjallarhorn only dropping for 2 people in all of Destiny? Dude, the community would lose their minds. And just kind of like talking rough numbers here, Diablo 4 made somewhere around 666 million in the first 5 days of it being out, with various articles reporting that D4 could have sold anywhere from 5 to 10 million copies just within those 5 days, and of course, pre-orders. Even if we just use the lowest number, let's just take 5 million players. Out of 5 million players, only 2 confirmed drops of the rarest uniques? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I wish I was one of those. 1 in 2.5 million? Yeah, I wish I was that guy. I wish I had grandfather right here in front of you, and I could just flex on all 5 million of you bastards. And boy, would I. I would literally take a picture with my unique. We would change the logo to our channel if one of these unique drops. And let me just say this. If it does drop, somehow, magically, and I notoriously have bad RNG, no lie, it's a sign from the heavens. I would make Diablo my main game, straight up. But come on, what are the chances of that actually happening? But you have to take into consideration that a significant majority of the player population has still yet to finish the campaign of D4. This was confirmed by director Joe Shelley during the most recent campfire chat. So a significant majority of those 5 to 10 million players have yet to finish the campaign. That means they haven't gotten to the end game. And most notably, they haven't been going up against level 85 plus enemies to even have the chance of getting those rare uniques to drop. We've only just recently reached those levels of enemies, and we've been playing and streaming this game a ton. Now, if we do some quick assumptions and math here, the majority is typically more than half. So let's just assume there's 5 million players. The lowest has been estimated. And let's just say 2.5 million have yet to finish the campaign. Then, on top of that, you still got a larger number of players that haven't even reached those higher levels in order to have a chance at those drops. Most players probably don't know that those drops even exist at 85 and up. What we're trying to say here is that right now, the drop rate for these super rare uniques might seem abysmally low or nigh impossible, but that could be because the majority of players aren't at that level yet to increase the global amount of drops. Right now, saying that only 2 people out of 5 million players have gotten those to drop is kind of inaccurate because the majority of these players literally can't get them to drop because they aren't at that point in the game yet. Now, on the other hand, you have players who have put in hundreds upon hundreds of hours already at those levels and have yet to see those drops. And there's thousands upon thousands of potential players who are actively playing and still have yet to see the rares of the rare, myself included. So my question to you is, when is something too rare? Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, that 1 in every 100,000 players gets one of these to drop, which is substantially better than 1 in every 2.5 million. Now, 1 in every 100,000 is still an insanely low drop rate. The highest average of ants on an anthill is 100,000. Getting one of these unique drops would be the equivalent of you plunging your hand into a colony of ants to grab just a specific one. And every time you pick the wrong one, you put it back and you try again. It isn't happening, man. Now, before we continue with this conversation, let me just show you what these uniques are. These are currently the rarest uniques in the game. This includes 2 helmets, a ring, an amulet, and 2 weapons. First, we have Doombringer. This is a unique one-handed slashing sword. Now, its unique perk is Lucky Hit, up to a 20% chance to deal X amount of shadow damage to surrounding enemies and reduce their damage done by 20% for 5 seconds. Next, we have the Grandfather. Boys, this is the one that I want. It's a unique 2-handed slashing sword, has some good crit multipliers on it, but most notably, it increases your critical strike damage by a range between 60 and 100%. It also ignores durability loss on death. Now, Andarial's Visage. This is a unique helmet. Its legendary aspect, lucky hit, up to a 15 to 20% chance to trigger a poison nova that applies up to 10,000 poison damage over 5 seconds to enemies in the area. Good God. Next, we have Harlequin Crest, another unique helmet. Its legendary aspect states that you gain 10 to 20% damage reduction in addition to +4 ranks to all skills. Not some, all skills. Dude, that's freaking wild. Next, we have the Ring of Starless Skies. Its legendary aspect, each consecutive core skill cast reduces the resource cost of your next core skill by 8 to 12%, up to a maximum of 40%. Dude, you can imagine how nutty that can get. Then we have the Melted Heart of Selig. This is a unique amulet. Its legendary aspect states that you gain 30% maximum resource, and in addition, when you take damage, you drain 8 to 3 resource for every 1% of life you would have lost instead. So guys, those are the rarest of the rare. And again, I'm compiling a list of all the uniques in the game. We're going to be discussing that here in the next day or so. But now that you see how juicy this loot is, I want to present the question one more time. Is this too rare? Is 2 confirmed drops currently for the player base too rare? Personally, guys, I think it is. But at the same time, I'm new to Diablo. And like, maybe this is exactly how you guys like it. Maybe my veteran players are like, yo, this is just how it is. We made a video talking about sunsetting and how you have to start a new character every season to engage in the seasonal content. That's something that I know Destiny players would hate, but Diablo players, y'all seem to love it. Matter of fact, on Twitter, we've seen some longtime Diablo fans completely stoked with something this rare back in the game again, saying that there hadn't been anything like this since Diablo 2. But you also see some diehard fans saying that the chances are too astronomically low. Then we have the question of, does the rarity in this case even matter? Most of these uniques are best in slot items. But when you have the chance to get them, you're already at the very end of the end game. By that point, you have a really good build, and you don't really need one of these uniques. Sure, they're very, very good, but these aren't necessarily uniques you're actively building around because the drop chance is just so low. I think the way we should look at them is more as like prized possessions, the flex that you can brag about. You can show your friend that, hey, your RNG is substantially better than everyone else's, because really that's got to be the case. Like, if one of these drops on me, I'm gonna have a party. I think at the end of the day though, if you have an OP build, which if you are 85 plus, you probably are working with a very good build. This is just gonna make your build even nastier. But at the same time, I don't think your build will ever be dependent on these uniques. Some of my hardcore Diablo players, Jared included, likes this level of rarity, an item that we dream of obtaining. With that being said, as more data begins to pour in though, I do believe that Blizzard needs to strike a balance between thousands of players hitting that jackpot versus almost nobody hitting that jackpot. There needs to be a middle ground. Yes, these items are the end of the end game. They're the rarest of the rare, and they should be few and far between. So rare that you feel extremely lucky to just know someone who has one of these. And currently right now, no one in the United States has been confirmed to have one of these. I look at my hardcore Diablo players that are like, yo, that's exactly how it should be. Good God, fellas. What, do you want to grind for the rest of your life? What, do you want to put like 1,000,000 hours into this thing? I'm not saying we should all be handing good loot here, and all of us have all the rarest uniques in the game, but there has to be a balance. I'm fine with things taking multiple seasons to get. I'm fine with putting in the time. But 2 in the entire world, I just have to ask my hardcore players, do you believe this is too rare? Personally, I think Blizzard needs to move that rarity needle just a tad bit up more, closer to that middle ground area. Either way it goes, guys, we'll be putting out a video talking about all the uniques in the game, as well as a video on how to focus farm some uniques in the game and just loot in general. So be looking out for that. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.